How About That Cigar is proud to bring you coverage of the 2022 PCA show, and it's all brought to you by the new Nica Rustica Adobe from Drew Estate.
All right, How About That Cigar? We are here, PCA, day number 3, and I am super excited and honored to be with Eric Newman from JC Newman Cigars. Eric, thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you, Garrett. I wish you were in Tampa to see our factory and museum, but we can't. So we brought our factory to you and the other retailers here to show you what we have. Awesome. I want to invite your viewers.
Yeah.
Everybody watches this? Anybody listen?
Yes,
on occasion?
We do, so we both do video and audio format. So,
okay, well that was kind of a tongue-in-cheek comment, but anyway, we hope that if people go to JC Newman Cigar, jcnewman.com, right?
Yep.
And you could book tours here. We become a tourist destination. Tampa at one time had 150 cigar factories. It was the fine cigar capital of the world. This is my 50th year in business. When I started in business, we can get up on our roof and see all of our competitors all over the United States with an eyesight, because all the premium cigars were made in Tampa. And now we're the last cigar factory in Tampa, and we have our cigar factory in Esteli, Nicaragua.
Yep.
We make our brick house in Puerto Del Mar and Quorum, El Baton. But we're part of the Fuente family. They make our Diamond Crown.
Yep.
We're Sal Fuente. And we also have a factory in Tampa making cigars on the same, it's like walking back in time. Come on, let me show you what we have.
Yeah, let's take a peek.
He began in Cleveland. My grandfather was born in 1875 in Austria-Hungary, and in 1888 came to America in search of the American dream. Came with his 4 brothers and 2 sisters, settled in Cleveland. There's a big Hungarian district in Cleveland, that's why they settled there. It's my grandfather with his, right here, with his brothers and sisters. His mother looked like a Russian shot putter. She wore the pants of the family, Hannah. But his brothers became tailors. That's what immigrants did, they make clothes. But Grandpa JC didn't want to make clothes, so his mother paid a cigar maker $3 a month to teach her son how to make cigars. Became a good cigar apprentice in 1890, went business for himself in 1895. A little bit of trivia.
Yeah.
In 1895, there are 42,000 licensed cigar manufacturers. You have to have a license to make cigars. Pay excise taxes, hasn't changed. Of those 42,000 licensed cigar manufacturers from 1895, we're the only one left. This is owned and operated by the founding family. 127, do I look good for 127?
You do,
I've weathered well.
You wear it well.
This is the family home, and moved there in 1888 actually. My grandfather got his first order for 500 cigars to the family grocer, 20 years old, converted the family barn in one-man cigar factory. Got some more orders. By May of 1895, he had 5 employees making cigars. Life was great. 20 years old, 5 employees, good business. What can go wrong?
So they're both living out of the home.
That's the family home, and that's the last factory.
Yes. And making cigars right out the back.
We just like Minnesota. It gets cold in wintertime in Cleveland.
That's right. Absolutely.
So the barn's not heated, so they moved his whole operation in the family basement. And after a couple weeks, his brother discovered that her fruits and vegetables, which he had canned for the winter, start to taste like tobacco. She kicks him out of the house. All of his 5 cigar makers. So he had to step a storefront in downtown Cleveland. This is the factory and storefront in Cleveland with all of his employees. 1905, they had the biggest factory in Cleveland. It's my grandfather with a mustache, white collar, over the Dr. Nichols sign. Business got good. Went to a bigger factory called a modern sanitary cigar factory. Why is it sanitary? Cigar makers today, back then too, you're supposed to, the way you make a handmade cigar, you roll the cigar, you have a little vial of gum that you use to glue the wrapper onto the bunch. But it was cheaper, it was quicker if someone took a cigar, you stuck it in your mouth this way. It was kind of gross. You used saliva to seal the wrapper onto the bunch. My grandfather, we don't do that. He's modern and sanitary. So 1916, the President Chamber of Commerce in Marion, Ohio. Marion's about 45 minutes from Cleveland. Said, we need jobs in Marion. Mr. Newman, we'll build you a factory, just hire the labor. So this is the factory they built for him in Marion, Ohio. The guy that came to see him, who was President Chamber, was a guy named Warren Harding.
Huh.
Later became President of the United States.
Yep.
In fact, my grandfather used to visit in the White House, not because Grandpa J.C. and President Harding were good friends. President Harding used to like to get free cigars. Hasn't changed. So anyway, then after World War II, there's an old airplane parts factory my grandfather bought, and that was our factory up till 1954. 1954, we moved to Tampa. But this is kind of interesting. Here's some of our old brands. Grandfather's the innovator. During the Great Depression, 1932, my grandfather ran 2 shifts making 2-cent cigars. General Motors plant was closed for 2 years, 2-cent cigar. And it was kept people employed. Our old brands, my grandfather was born in a little brick house. Yep. The only brick house in this community in Austria-Hungary, 1875. We came to this country, one of the first brands was brick house. Brand died out in the 30s, brought it back about 15 years ago. To show you how old that brand is, these are the good old days. Can you imagine buying a cigar that sold 2 for a nickel?
2 for a nickel.
Those were the good old days.
They were.
Yeah, we have other brands. We've had El Baton.
Yeah.
We just reintroducing at the show this year. This old brand my grandfather had. It's a full flavored cigar, first cigar that we ever made in Nicaragua. Other brands we had was Alcazar, 5 cents, this decision. Anyway, 1954, we moved to Tampa. And there's a story there. I don't know if you have enough time for stories. In the early 50s, there were 5 big cigar companies trying to run the little guys, like my grandfather, out of business. Maybe it cost, the big guys grew their own tobacco. It cost them $3 a pound. The little guys like my grandfather didn't grow their own tobacco, so the big guys offered the farmers $6 a pound for a little bit of their needs, which they could average down with what they grew, that $3 a pound. They did this intentionally to set this fictitiously high market price for tobacco, $6 a pound. Like Grandpa J said, I can't compete. These guys are fixing up the market here.
Yep.
I have to find a niche of the cigar industry where the big guys aren't in. In the early 50s, they were only in the mass market business. Grandpa J.C. said, I want to get in the premium cigar business. In the early 50s, there's only one section of the United States making premium cigars, Tampa, Florida. So at the age of 78, he said, we're moving to Tampa. So we moved to Tampa, and we've been there ever since. Come visit our factory. It's like walking back in time. Tampa one time had 150 cigar factories. We're the last one making cigars. My grandfather was one of the first cigar manufacturers to use antique hand-operated cigar machines from the 1930s. These are the machines. These same very machines are being used today, every day. There's nothing made in this country that's made in the same machinery, forgetting cigars, anything that's 90 years old, because there's been computers and technology and modernization. You walk in our factory, the same machines. Each like make 11 cigars a minute. They have a hand cigar maker laying this on the machine, and it's really cool. Walking back in time. Come to our factory for a tour.
Yeah.
We're making cigars by hand, the same way my grandfather made in the 1890s. There's nothing made today that's made the same way it was in the 1800s, except for the museum. These are actually to sell.
Yeah.
Our American and other cigars that we're making up there. It really is. So we invite all your guests to, last year was 125th year in business. We converted our factory into a tourist attraction. We're getting 5,000 tourists a year, guided tours. We get 35 weddings a year. It's really
Oh, cool.
We have, our employees can't believe people actually want to pay money to see what they do. Say, yes, make good cigars, stretch your wrapper, keep your area clean. It's really been fun. So we have a factory in Nicaragua to make brick house. But it's hard to get to Esteli, Nicaragua. You fly to Managua. American even doesn't fly there anymore. Then, anyway, you can come to our factory and see how Tampa cigars are made. You don't need a passport.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on. Dad died in 2006. Here's a billboard of Tampa. Even back in the 90s, Tampa had a lot of cigar factories. Fuente, Bansi's, Bering, Arquestre, Tampa, Buffet Garcia, still the fine cigar capital of the world. not like it used to be. Then now, one by one, the other companies have closed, but we are still there. Moving along. In 2001, Carlito and I started the Cigar Family Charitable Foundation. In 2004, we opened up our school. This is opening day, September 6, 2004. We started our first school, pre-K, 8th grade. Life was great. We had 800 people at our opening ceremonies. The media, the politician, the parents. Carlito calls me about 6 months later, says, we have a problem in our school. Carlito, we can't have a problem in our school. The problem is, a bunch of 8th grade girls got hold of him. He's a soft touch, said, we love our school. The closest high school is an hour away by walking. We need a high school. I said, Carlos, we have no money for high school. We need a high school. So he and I co-signed a loan to the Bank of Tampa for $1 million, which has since been paid back, thank goodness. And we built high school, then a medical clinic, and ball fields, amphitheater. Now we have a technical school. Now we have an arts center. It's really, really special. And so this is our feature of our Cigar Family project.
And a lot of that has to do with Toast Across America.
Yeah, it costs. It costs us, $700,000-800,000 a year. But we donate these cigars to retailers. A credit goes to the retailer because we make. Carlito makes special Opus X, special Diamond Crown.
Yep.
We sell it to the retailer for $50. And what does he do? He sells it for $50. There's no markup.
Okay.
He does it because they're supporting our project. These kids are so poor. It's one of the poorest areas of the Dominican Republic, but they don't know they're poor. They don't know life has dealt them a tough hand being born in a third world country. And they're just great kids. You go there, smiles all around. They're learning English and French and computers and math and science. They play sports, baseball. They love to sing, dance, the arts there. It's really a really cool spot. And it's our Cigar Family project. Moving along, next billboard here. We've been partners with the Fuentes since 1986. That is 36 years ago. That was, I'm 74, so I was 38 then, a long time ago. Carlos started to make cigars for us in the handmade business. We just bought out our relatives, so we had to get in the handmade business. So we asked Carlos, he'd make cigars for us, first La Unica, then Cuesta Rey, and they took off. Our strength, we had a good sales organization. We never had our own handmade factory. In late 80s, Carlos had the best cigar factory in the world. Never had his own sales organization. He sold 23 brokers. So in 1990, it's actually an article on October 27, November 1st, 1990, we started to sell Fuente. So we could do what we do best, sell our cigars, his cigars, we could make call and smoke shop. He could do what he focused on, what he does best is making cigars, and we've been partners ever since distributing Fuente cigars. November of 1990, before the cigar boom, before Cigar Aficionado, back in the late 80s, business really sucked. It was going down 4 or 5% a year, but we've been fortunate, it worked out for both families. Carlos Fuentes Sr., one of the greatest and smartest guys in the world, died in 2016. Guy had an 8th grade education, he was a genius. Hard worker, and he's just a very, very, very special, clever guy. And it was the inspiration to all of us. He and my father were great friends. And so we had an opportunity. Actually, what happened is, in Valentine's Day of 1986, Carlos called my father, Senior. He wanted to close his factory in Tampa, making machine-made cigars, and focused on his factory in Dominican. And Dad said, "That's great, Carlos, but will you help him making cigars for us in the Dominican Republic?" He said, "Okay." So we started. He started making cigars for us. La Unica, then Cuesta Rey, Diamond Crown now. Anyway, we go back a long way. This is Dad and Carlos when they did one of their agreements back in probably in 1990. We've been partners and friends for so long. I used to have hair. That's me and Carlos and my father, and even down here is Carlos, John Oliva, Carlito, my father, Cynthia, my brother. I had hair, and Wayne Suarez. So We go back a long way. People ask us, what do you got new this year? And the answer is, what is old is new, what new is old. El Baton, old brand, we refurbished it with new packaging, a new look, a new blend.
Oh, wow.
That's the way it was. It used to be a nickel cigar. Those are, again, the good old days. Pearl Del Mar we changed a couple years ago and updated the look here. There's, Brick House. We're Brick House. It's our most popular handmade, cigar head from Nicaragua. But that's the old box. The old box and the new box. Our super premium cigar is Diamond Crown.
Yep.
Gorgeous. We came out with it to celebrate our 100th anniversary in 1995. Fast forward, here's an ugly box. This is from 1900. It's probably a 2-cent cigar. Over time, it is what it became today. My son Drew wanted to bring hand cigar making back to Tampa. Lousy idea. So labor's 8 times what it is in Esteli. Dad, I want to do it. But I want to make a cigar with all American everything. American wrapper, American binder, American filler. He accomplished it with the American. The American was the first cigar made in our factory in 1910. What all American tobacco? And Drew wanted to make everything American. I mean, American boxes, molds, bands, everything American. This is before Trump said, make America great again. The boxes cost us $20 from Miami. I said, I can get the same box for $5 from Nicaragua. I said, $50 a box. No, Dad, we can't do it. We won't be true to our word. But Drew, Dad, I want to do it. So we stayed in Miami. Everything is made in America. Now we're having a new cigar, Angel Cuesta, that'll be available at the end of this year, making cigars by hand. But it is hard to make cigars by hand in the United States because we don't have a big factory. Look at this. This is our 2003. Opened up. We started going to Nicaragua, making Quorum, then Brick House and Pearl Del Mar. We built our new factory in 2011. These are our rollers. This is not
it's not live?
Not a live feed.
Okay.
I wanted to make it live if Jose was sleeping on the job. I was like, call him, go wake up Jose, but they didn't want it. So that's our factory there. So it's a lot of labor. So today we have our factory in Tampa. We make 60,000 cigars a day on antique cigar machines, value price cigars. Making handmade cigars in Tampa. We have a factory in Nicaragua where we make El Baton, Brick House, Quorum, Pearl Del Mar, and then Fuente makes our super premium cigars, Diamond Crown, Maximus, Julius Caesar, now the new Black Diamond, and Cuesta Rey. So we're in all kind of different markets. We have a cigar for everybody's palate, everybody's budget.
Absolutely. Eric, this has been a fantastic tour down,
down memory lane.
Down memory lane, some great history. I have yet to go to the factory in Miami, and I am.
We're in Tampa.
Or in Tampa, excuse me. But I'm hoping to get down there later this year, and I know many of our viewers and listeners. I've talked to many people who have been through the tour, and they can't say enough about how amazing it is.
My son gets the credit. He wants his renovation. I said, Drew, it's crazy. We've got on our 4th renovation in our factory. We bought an old boarding house across the street. We want to fix up. There's roosters in Ybor City run wild, but they get hurt sometimes. So we set up a chicken rescue place. We have 10,000 bats in this boarding house we bought. We have to get rid of the bats. You just can't get rid of bats. It's against the law. We have set up a bat park across the street. Then we start growing tobacco on some other property on the other side of the street, get a tobacco barn. Drew's got this vision. I said, Drew, we make cigars, we ship cigars. Dad, I want to make this a tourist attraction. I want to make this whole complex. Drew's got this vision. Well, I said, you can wait till your mother and I die and get your inheritance, or you can do it now, because it's going to cost a lot. Well, Dad, stay healthy. Why don't we do it now?
Right.
So that is his vision, and I was. This is my 7th interview, I think, here. I'll tell you a story. I didn't tell the other people, though. Family businesses are difficult. Going from one generation to the second generation to the third generation. When Drew Estates sold, you've heard of Drew Estates?
Yeah, I've heard.
the president of Swisher called me the next week and said, "What are you doing about succession planning? I mean, are you up? You know, we just bought Drew Estates. What do you thought about what's your future?" I had never thought about it before. I was 70, about 70 back then. Or 69, I said. I never thought about it. I can't take the building. My brother and I own the company. We can't put in our coffin when we die. What would we do with it? If we didn't have a son, a child, next fourth generation, who had the interest, the enthusiasm, the passion, we'd sell a business. That's why a lot of businesses go from generation to generation to generation. When Drew was 5 years old, he told me, "I'm J.C. Newman reincarnated." He knew what a reincarnated meant, but he always had this passion for the business. And when he was 6 years old, we took him to zoo camp. We had Busch Gardens in Tampa. It's a day camp. The last day of camp, they'll let the fathers take their kid into the theme park for free. And so we go there and went to a little store called Timbuktu. They happen to sell cigars. We went in there, never been in there, and they didn't have our cigars. And Drew was 6 years old. I was so dejected. And this little kid, 6-year-old, said, "Daddy, I got an idea." "Sure, son, what's your idea?" "You give them a box of cigars, they'll buy a box." "What?" "Give them a box, if you buy a box, they'll buy a box." Already thinking about the business.
Wow.
When he was 14, he comes up to me and says, "Daddy, do we have a website?" It's 1994, 595. I said, "What's a website?" "Daddy, you have to have a website." So we started the Cigar Family, and before Facebook, we had a message board. It's the most heavily trafficked website in the end of the street. Drew was so enthusiastic about this business. At this show, the RTDA, when he was 10 years old, 11 years old, you can bring kids back in.
Right.
He got dressed up, he had an order pad. We didn't have iPads back then. And he'd take more orders than the rest of our salesmen, because all the people like to give him the order. And he got it right. He was just so enthusiastic.
10, 11 years old.
Yeah. I would come home every day, and he said, when he was about 8 years old, he said, "Daddy, talk to anybody?" Well, I said, "No, he always wants to know what's happening in the business." When he was 7 or 8, we took him down to the Dominican Republic with Fuente. He said, "Dad, I'll be good. I'll be good." Okay. So he and my father, and we met with Carlos, and we went to Chateau del Fuente, which is basically, wasn't like it is now. It was just like, I think they just had a gazebo there, and old house. And we drank beer and wine, and we had, it was just talk. We had no water. And little munchkin there was just sitting there. He can't drink beer. He's 8 years old, can't drink water, can't drink beer or wine. You're just being good. He has got this, it's a passion you can't teach. It comes from within. Yeah. If we didn't have that, we would have sold the business. So I'm really blessed we have the next generation, because that makes all the difference.
Absolutely. And we've talked to Drew a handful of times, and his passion, his understanding of the industry is, we're looking forward to.
Well, Drew is, not only he's a lawyer, he used to be a regulator in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is run by 13 commissioners. He was the legislative director for one of the commissioners. People would come up to him with regulations, and he'd be the one listening to them. Then he came from the dark side to our side. He's leading our fight with FDA, and he thinks. We met with Scott Gottlieb at the FDA. We met with we walk calls of Congress. We get so fed up talking to FDA, because we said logically, we aren't the bad guys. You shouldn't try to regulate us out of business. But Drew says, "Dad, you got to look at the FDA not from your lens, but from their lens, how they look at it." But. So Drew's very rational. He thinks like an attorney. Anyway, we're in good hands for the next generation, whatever happens. He's another young person, just like you guys are. So, and just like your viewers are.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's our story.
Eric, thank you so much for your time today. So much.
Well, thank you.
Really appreciate
You got me
it.
hooked up.
You guys, thank you for watching this interview. Stay tuned for more coverage from PCA 2022.